Good morning and welcome to Breakfast Central. As we celebrate International Women's Month, unfortunately, some would argue that a young woman, is being bullied on social media and in real life. We're talking about Chioma Okoli and the Erisco Foods. We'll be going into the details of this story at some point during the show today. My name is Olive Emodi.
And I'm Joe Hansen. Please bear in mind, the pink color has nothing to do with the Women's Month, okay? It's just a coincidence, one of those things that happen. I bet Olive was actually spying into my phone to hear what I was saying when I make calls to the dry cleaners.
Very funny,
and say,
Joe.
Hey, I need that pink shirt because I got to go pink, you know? Anyway, President Bola-Ahmed Tinubu is back. He was welcomed by the Vice President. He was welcomed by the FCT Minister. It seems like a commoner where the president comes back and then they roll the red carpet. There are images of that, his welcome, I would say welcome red carpet.
Shouldn't he be welcomed as the father of the nation? He should be given the grand entrance, the triumphant entrance of the president into his country. You know, you should.
You see, we've had this conversation many a times. And the problem simply is it every time that he travels and returns that there must be a red carpet? What ceremony, what are we celebrating?
We're celebrating his safe return because some people went and did not come back. Please don't speak ill of my president.
I'm not speaking.
I will not.
I'm just asking questions because Qatar, there was a red carpet. The initial one, of course, the UAE, there was a red carpet.
Well, I just
African Union, there was a red carpet.
At the end of the day, it boils down to what our priorities are. What are some of the things, the key things that bother us as a nation? And of course, Nigerians are not having the easiest of times. There's hunger plaguing the land. Citizens are starting to react. They're being pushed to the wall. Pockets of protests breaking out around the country. And roofing sheets are being stolen from houses, storage houses that are being vandalized and looted. And these are the realities of Nigerians. And we're hoping that we can get some relief. And like the president did say, that the poor can breathe. We have Adebola Adedugba, who joins us for Breakfast Headlines. And good morning, Adebola. I would like to bring you in on some of these conversations we've been talking about. Yeah. There's a lot of stories that have been talked about, a lot of experiences that some Nigerians have shared. Which would you say stands out for you the most?
Okay, let me start by greeting both of you. Good morning, Joe and Olive. It's a pink Tuesday. Both of you are tuning in.
Indeed it is. I don't know why Joe feels the overwhelming need to dissociate himself from the celebration of International Women's Day. I don't know why.
All right, back to the conversation about Nigeria. I mean, the one that struck out to me the most would be the breaking of the vandalization of the warehouse in Abuja, where, grains were looted. And then also the warehouse itself was vandalized. I mean, there's been reports that 15 people are being prosecuted regarding that. In as much as I am not endorsing robbery or theft or anarchy, but for me, this should send a strong signal to the president that, hey, look, I mean, these may just degenerate into anarchy. It's a proof that people are actually very hungry. There is hunger in the land. It's a crisis of survival. People are pushed, hard to their limits. And I feel the government should just see this as a wake-up call to step in and nip things in the bud.
Well, very well said.
The fear about this is, many have said that it started this manner. They're starting to loot warehouses. Of course, Neymar did come out to say the warehouse does not belong to them. It belonged to the FCTA. Aside that, Neymar, in ensuring that the same does not happen to them, men mount.
They're beefing up security,
so
of course.
They beefed up their security. Why is that? Why would you beef up your security? Because you do have an idea that anything can happen. But that's not all. Many Nigerians are saying that it starts from there. Before you know they are already looting trucks with food on the highway. So if there's any truck, be it any of the FMCGs that's transporting interstate food from possibly Lagos to Ibadan, they have to be very wary. In short, according to some quarters, they are now being worried if they should actually attach security operatives to any of the trucks transporting food.
At this point, they should.
Because from there, they're now attacking the trucks, the food, and then the next thing would be that market woman who is just sitting down there, who is selling something, and then they say, what's going on? Then before you know, it happens that they start coming into houses. So things are really, really starting to get out of hand, and it needs serious intervention.
They have started attacking people on the roads in some cases. I personally know of 3 people who in broad daylight, around 2 p.m., they had some young boys. Typically, you would see all these squeegee boys in traffic trying to clean your windows and ask for money. But this time around, it was a more entitled way. They were banging on the windows and asking for money, and their drivers just managed to narrowly escape such incidents. What will happen is that citizens will start to turn on one another if this is not fixed, and fixed pretty soon.
Hello and welcome to Breakfast Headlines here on News Central TV. I am Adebola Adeduba. We begin the news in West Africa, Nigeria, where the funeral rites for the late Group Managing Director and CEO of Access Bank PLC, Herbert Wigwe, began on Monday in Lagos. The funeral kicked off at Eko Hotel in Victoria Island, Lagos, with a ceremony tagged celebrating professional excellence. Friends, family, former colleagues, and other dignitaries paid emotional tribute to the late banker.
On behalf of the people and government of Lagos State, we will cherish what he stood for, what he believed in. And Lagos, I repeat, Lagos, will not forget Herbert Wigwe. We will live to support the family, to support Tuche, David, Hannah, and the great fearless Ukachi to become someone that your mom, Chizoba, will be happy with, that your brother, Chizi, will be happy with, and that indeed all of us will live the fearless story, the legacy of Herbert Wigwe. Thank you very much.
Herbert still worried about whether he would have sufficient time to realize his ultimate dream, a dream we shared for a transformed Africa. February 9th, 2024, the day Herbert, Chizoba, Chizi, and Bimbo died, along with 2 pilots, was a terrible and tragic day for us all. But believe you me, ladies and gentlemen, on that day, in a way that happens to very, very, very few human beings in history.
His legacy in philanthropy will always never be forgotten. I choose to remember his long friendship, undivided loyalty, and his zest for life. Among numerous other attributes, he was a pillar of strength and support for me, my family, and our businesses. He was not afraid to go out on a limb to help me untie the several knots that actually came up as our organization grew and flourished. He was proud to be part of my success story, and I'm proud to name him my devoted friend, mentee, and brother.
Away from that, the federal government will begin distribution of grains nationwide to cushion the impact of hardship in Nigeria. Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, who disclosed these on Monday, said distribution of 42,000 metric tons of grain, as approved by the president, will be shared across 36 states of the federation this week. Nigeria's emergency agency says it has tightened security at its warehouses nationwide as a precaution following the looting of food warehouses in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, on Sunday by suspected hoodlums. The raid on the outskirts of Abuja marks the latest social unrest over the soaring prices and the country's fraying economy. We head now to East Africa, where the judges at the International Criminal Court have ruled that prosecutors can bring a hearing on the charges against a fugitive Ugandan warlord despite his absence. Joseph Kony was the leader of the notorious Lord's Resistance Army, LRA, which abducted thousands of children to use as soldiers or sex slaves. Somalia has become a full member of the East African Community after completing all the steps required to gain complete membership of the regional bloc. The EAC Secretariat shared on X that Somalia has gained full membership after depositing her instrument of ratification with the Secretary General of the bloc. And that's a wrap on Breakfast Headlines. It's back to Joe and Olive.
Thank you so much for that. Very touchy it was yesterday, especially seeing the fact that the tributes were being given. And you did have best friends, colleagues. I mean, I took time to, I kind of like joined in when the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu was talking about how they met. They used to buy shirts at Bandelas on the bridge. They used to eat, rice and so on. They had plans. They will meet here and there. How he was very supportive of the governor before he got into office, and how they, he was a wonderful person.
Indeed, he was.
You always know who's, because when people turn out for you, especially with the sad demise, and then they talk good about the things you've done, when you weigh it on a scale of how true this person really was, you get to see that there's no other way but to agree that this was a very great person.
Absolutely. Like everything that has been said of Herbert Wigwe since his passing has talked about the strength of his character, his excellence as a person, and his contribution to, the corporate world. I think there's something that stood out for me. There are several speeches, so many gems to pick out from all the speakers. But I believe it was Segun Agbaje who talked about how Herbert, had 57 years of living a life that many people in several lifetimes will not be able to live, because he lived life with purpose, with intent. He wasn't careless with his life. He was particular about influence and impact. I think that's a better word. He was particular about impact, and everyone who lived and came close to him felt that importance, felt that impact. And also just to talk about his wife, his son, and Bimbo, of course, who passed away unfortunately. And one more thing I think that this has reminded me of is that we need to give people their flowers whilst they're alive. I do hope that Herbert knows or knew just how much influence and how much impact he had made in people's lives while he was alive. We give people their flowers whilst they're alive, as opposed to waiting until they're dead.
Absolutely.
Say all these very nice things about them. I hope that he knew it and that he felt it and that he believed it. And it's just a reminder for the rest of us here to live every day with intent, focused on making impact and giving people their flowers while they can still smell them. Thank you,
Absolutely,
Adibola.
Olive. I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I
Yeah.
caught a clip of that yesterday. Quite an emotional moment there regarding the late Herbert Wigwe. I mean, our deepest condolences once again to the family, friends and colleagues of the legendary, late Herbert Wigwe. Like you rightly mentioned, Olive, it's a clarion call for us all. It's a wake-up call for us all to number our days, give, credits to those whom are due credit while they are still alive.
Absolutely. And also, just to mention, his wife, his son, and Mr. Bimbo, our heart goes out to everyone who's mourning their loss, their family, friends, and those who knew them closely. Adibola, thank you for bringing us Breakfast Headlines. We'll see you again at 9 a.m.
You're welcome.
All right. And if you're just joining, this is Breakfast Central. You can join the conversation online at News Central TV on all platforms. At some point during the show, we open the phone lines and allow you to share your thoughts with us on some of the biggest stories. We'll go on a break, and when we come back, we heat our top stories.
Thanks for staying with us here on Breakfast Central. Nigeria's Minister of Federal Capital has warned Director Cadre staff of the administration of a dereliction of duties and below par performance in their duties. This was as the Minister Nyesom Wike informed them of President Bola Tinubu's approval for the establishment of an FCT commission, which will have about 8 permanent secretaries to man the administration. Let's take a look at this.
The meeting had in attendance all staff of the administration at the level of directors. The acting permanent secretary of the administration says that the ongoing reforms being carried out are expected to improve the efficiency of the FCT administration.
Efforts have been made to streamline and reposition the routine operations of the secretarial departments and agencies of the FCTA to avoid undue bureaucracy and delays in the conduct of public sector business. Similarly, relevant circulars have been issued recently defining our responsibilities to ensure that our jobs are carried out within the stipulated time frame to enhance speed of action.
By the grace of God, we will have a head of service. What does that entail? We will have permanent secretaries that will head various secretariats. Just like what is obtainable in states.
The minister Nyesom Wike, however, expressed concerns over the attitude of several directorate staff in the administration.
But my worry is that Mr. President cannot be doing this, and some of us are sabotaging the efforts of the administration.
He condemned those in the habit of not taking their work seriously, saying their efforts are attempts at frustrating the administration from fulfilling its objectives.
How on earth can anybody delay files that come before you? That is sabotage. Why will people hide files and they'll be looking for files? I discovered when we had the last PAMSEC, it was when he left, the files we have been looking for came out. That is bad.
The permanent secretaries expected to be appointed are about 8 in number. Each geographic zone of the country will have at least one representative. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadin Uyi.
All right, so there you have it. It's the new commission, the FCT commission, to ensure that everything is done appropriately. And that's where you see the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, former governor of Rivers State, talking tough there and ensuring that every single plan, especially with the renewed hope proposition, will indeed succeed. Olive, we did see Wike there making it clear and telling all who are involved that the FCT, most importantly, it's not going to be a place where you just come and relax and not do your job. We do know the issue with civil servants and, of course, the civil service society. Right from growing up, we remember how it was painted in picture, and you will actually experience it when you go there and you will see it. And that's exactly what happens. Anyway, we'll go for a quick break. When we come back, we have a very, very big discussion to go into. So do us a favor. Feel free to tweet at us and let us know what your thoughts are in the course of the program. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
In today's world, who would have known that doing a product review would lead to something else, such as illegal action? Chioma Okoli on one beautiful day posted her review and feedback on a Facebook page about Najiko tomato paste by Erico Foods. Whereas she didn't realize that this video would have gathered so much views and attention, leading to the CEO threatening to slam Okoli with a 5 billion naira lawsuit over her negative review of the company's product. Nigerians have threatened to boycott Erisco Foods over the company's continued persecution of a reviewer, Chioma Okoli, after the Inspector General of Police filed a cybercrime charge against Chioma.
Meanwhile, the CEO, Eric Umeofia, in March 2015 and repeated in July 2016, had claimed that a list of Nigerians have been killed by an alleged tomato paste cabal or tomato paste importers, which he had failed to mention up until date. Well, a case human rights lawyer and counsel to Chioma Okoli, Inebeye Effiong, has asked for. Well, this morning, joining us to get an update on the matter is also a human rights lawyer and, of course, one who has been following this case judiciously. We do have Festus Oguns live in the studio. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Great. This is a story that it doesn't need so much interpretation or explanation because everyone simply has been following closely. What have you made out of this particular story? Looking at the reactions that has come from, let's not even talk about Nigerians, let's talk about the CEO himself and, of course, taking Chioma to court and, of course, ensuring that he wants to sue her for that huge amount.
If you ask me, I would say it's just a reckless display of naked power. You know, we live in a society where very powerful people, very rich people believe that they can trample upon the rights, the dignity of poor, ordinary people with reckless abandon because there are no consequences for impunity. I've always said it that when you live in a society where the rule of law is not prioritized, there is going to be abuses like this. When a customer makes a review of your product, the next thing for you to do is not to, get the customer arrested, get her intimidated and prosecuted. It's not to arbitrarily begin to intimidate the customer. What you should do is to take the review in good faith. And even when you are agitated, when you are concerned about the review, you go ahead to file a libel suit. If you feel your business has been defamed, a business organization can sue for libel. Why has he not told that line? But because he believes that because he's wealthy, he can use his money to buy the police, and the police will not even accord their responsibility to reasoning. They accord it to who the money bag is, which is, destroying whatever is left of the fabric of our country. The point I'm making is that what Chioma Okoli has done is not a violation of law. She has not violated any law. And the arrest, the detention, and the subsequent intimidations, and what we now have a sort of prosecution in court, should not have arisen in the first place if we have a country that prioritizes the rule of law. What is the business of the police with a review, an innocent review made by a customer? And at the end of the day, even if the company decides to even sue her for libel, truth is a defense. Truth is a defense to libel. The customer has stated that, look, this tomato paste is very sugary and things in that direction. The way out to get whether she is defaming the company or otherwise is to really test if that tomato paste is sugary. And this is just coming from a customer. Should that even necessitate the whole theatrics that we see on a daily basis, to the point that the CEO is on national TV, insisting that he is going to ensure that the lady is thoroughly dealt with? I do not think it is necessary. If we have, I'm saying again, if we have a police force that is indeed committed to its duty of ensuring the protection of lives and properties, prioritizing the rule of law, we wouldn't even have this kind of arrest and intimidation in the first place. Take a look at it. She was arrested in Lagos. The purported defamation was in Lagos. As if that was not enough, she was bundled from Lagos, taken to Abuja. Now they want to commence the prosecution in Abuja. Why should they go to Abuja? Are there no federal high courts in Lagos? That shows you that, look, when the rich want to intimidate the poor, I'm a lawyer, I understand the theatrics. When the rich want to intimidate the poor, they do things that will make the poor very frustrated. When you take a matter to Abuja, let's even take away the fact that they would fly through air to Abuja. Let's assume the lady will be going by road to Abuja. For someone that is just an average Nigerian, especially at this time, if she goes to Abuja for cases, and this case, the way Nigerian system works, can take up to 3 years. The prosecution can take 2-3 years.
And even what's worse is, if you watched the documentary where she narrated her ordeal, she mentioned that was the very first time she was visiting Abuja. So imagine the first time visiting Abuja was because of this case. She doesn't have family, she doesn't have friends in Abuja, according to what she said, because she obviously doesn't live there, and she was taken there for this case. So and I'm really glad that you mentioned what exactly the issue was, because she did say that the tomato paste was too sugary, yes. And she had gone to buy 2 other brands, she didn't find them, and then she bought Najiko and tried to use it. It was too sugary, so she threw it away. And she shared her thoughts on Facebook. Just to mention that what they're holding on to as evidence is, and I'm just reiterating this if anyone hasn't followed the case yet, is the fact that somebody, purportedly, maybe his sister, had gone to comment asking her to stop destroying the business if she doesn't want to purchase or something in that line. And then she replied, or she allegedly replied that this this tomato paste is killing people, something in that line. So I believe that that's what, I wish we had a picture of that. That's what they're holding on to as evidence. I want you to walk us through what should have been the actual line of action. Yes, this could maybe be libel if they had a strong case, if they feel that their character as a company has been defamed and this was published, it would amount to libel. And you said that the defense to libel is truth, which is of course the defense to defamation as well.
Yes.
How then do we establish truth if one of the things we're hearing is that the amount of sugar was not even specified on the tin? That, you know, when you look at the nutritional components, a number of people have complained about the fact that they don't understand how much sugar is there. So how do we establish truth? And what should have been the proper mode of handling this? Should the police have gone to her house, stayed outside her house from morning till evening, asking to arrest her, threatening to break her door at some point? Absolutely. Is that an actual mode of arrest as enshrined in our laws?
Yeah, I do not see any form of decency in the mode of arrest. When you want to arrest a citizen, you have to respect the provision of Section 34 of the Constitution that guarantees the right to dignity of human person. I am aware that Chioma Okoli was laid under siege in her residence for hours, even after the first initial arrest. So you see that when you arrest a person for the first time, again, after her release, subsequent to public outcry, you went ahead to her residence again to arrest her, still on the same subject matter. It's becoming a sort of harassment. Thankfully, the lawfulness of the arrest is already a subject of litigation before another federal high court in Lagos. So, you see, the point I'm making, which I think is very important, is that when you have a customer-company relationship, there is a better way to handle it. Because in Nigeria, we believe everything has to be policed. You have to involve police in everything. I owe the presenter some amount of money. The next thing is, instead of asking for the money, the next thing you go to the police to report. Landlord, tenant. Landlord will go to the police to report. Tenant will go to the police to report. Simple marital disputes. Marital disputes. They go to the police to report, and police will intervene. See, when police continues to lend itself to be used by powerful people to settle personal scores, then we'll have a big problem in the country. I believe, without any fear of contradiction, that the whole theatrics, the whole drama by the Erisco company, including its CEO, in respect of this matter, is unwarranted and unnecessary. Let me say again that, like you mentioned, the CEO had alleged in years back that those importing tomato paste in the country are killing Nigerians. Till today, he is unable to produce those that have been killed by this product that have been imported. Should the importers of tomato paste come together to also ensure his arrest, detention, and detention? Because what is good for the goose is also good for the gander, you know. So if he has said it in time past as a sort of commentary, not once, I think twice. Absolutely. That, look, those people importing tomato paste in the country are killing Nigerians, yet he doesn't have any evidence to back up his claim that indeed Nigerians are being killed by imported tomato paste. Why has he not been arrested? Why are the foreign importers not ensuring that he's arrested, prosecuted, and intimidated?
And just to piggyback on what you've said, he also didn't mention that, I mean, he's alleged for years that there have been a cabal that's trying to bring down his business because he's spoken against importers. So he alleges that Chioma is part of that cabal. Does he have any evidence to substantiate that claim?
The allegation is reckless. It doesn't have any basis. It doesn't have any basis. There is no facts to support the allegation. It's just a reckless allegation. Some would say it's maybe corporate insecurity. It's just insecure. So why is he just insistent on this pregnant woman?
I'd like us to look at the fact that this is a pregnant woman.
Yes.
Coincidentally, we're also in Women's Month. And we just heard as well that the president is coming up with a lot of, how do I put it, a lot of, I'll call it rules, laws, or processes to ensure that women are indeed treated appropriately in the country. But I want to ask this. Now that this has gone to the court of law, Chioma is being moved to Abuja and so on, where do you see this case likely going? I'm not trying to tell you to predict what's going to happen.
I'm not predicting.
Of course. But where do you see this leading to? Are we going to see a pregnant woman that's going to be incarcerated because of doing a video on social media talking about products? And where do you think the consumer protection, the laws that govern consumer protection, comes in? Because ordinarily in other climes or similar climes, you see them come in immediately. They will possibly call for a test of the product. They will call for all whatnot to ensure that what this consumer is or customer is saying, let's see if it's true. And then let's also have, rather than leave the CEO to become the consumer protection, to become the law, and also to become the judge.
The spokesperson of the company,
yeah.
The CEO was on TV granting interview. It is the CEO that is everywhere making public statements. It's not a problem. Look, what we are saying is that, yes, a company might be agitated, but a customer has a right to review your product, whether you like it or not. That's how it's done everywhere in the world. If I use your product, I have a right to comment on the propriety of that product, how I feel about that product. He had expected positive reviews all around for his product, which is a tall dream, if you ask me. You would expect ordinarily that some people will give honest review about your product. Has he taken any step to even investigate whether that allegation is true? Or has he taken any step to even improve his product?
Well, I think in response to that, part of his defense would be that they had asked Chioma to provide the tin, the batch number, so they can investigate. And as expected, she had thrown it away, because I've also used bad products. And when I do, I don't keep them around to say, I'm going to take this back to the company. Because in Nigeria, it's a bit of a Herculean task, trying to get companies to accept responsibility, yes. Right? So typically, you just maybe complain and throw it away.
Yes.
So because they cannot trace it, and according to him, because they could not get across to Chioma, is why he involved the Inspector General of Police. Let's talk about the police again, very quickly. How do we analyze the role of the police in ensuring the protection of citizens' rights as opposed to infringing on citizens' rights? Because in this case, some will argue that the police was, has been part of an instrument or a system that set the law in motion against Chioma. So how would we analyze the importance of the role that the police plays?
Ordinarily, police should be a neutral body whose primary duty is the protection of lives and property under the Police Act. However, the Nigerian police force of today is not neutral. The police force takes side with the rich, with the powerful people, and the influential people. Nothing more, nothing less. Even for me as a lawyer, I find it very frustrating to even go to a police station or do police matter.
So police is not your friend?
People that maim our people, kill our people, brutalize people at the slightest provocation, slaughter our people, kill our people on a daily basis. I wouldn't know, but those that kill people every day, they detain people, you talk about law, they just look at you as if you are joking.
There's a lot to
this level of disdain. There's this level of disdain to dignity of human person by the police. The police do not give a damn about human rights. The Nigeria police force do not give a damn about human rights. They don't care about the dignity of human person. And that is why I can walk up to the police station to say, look, I want this person arrested. So I would tell the police, I want this person arrested. The next thing they will ask me is not even the propriety of my complaint. It is whether I can do the proper mobilization. This is how it works in the Nigerian police force. So, but if our Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Agency, the FCCPC, the Commission, is indeed efficient, the action of a RISCO company is completely unconscionable. They shouldn't have allowed it to happen if we have an FCCPC that is truly efficient. But it's just, I would say it's a growing commission. It's a growing commission, if you ask me.
All right.
Please,
there's a lot of conversation. I mean, because of time, it's something we'd like to really continue. But you know what? I think we're going to have you back. Let's see how this case plays out.
Very well.
And hopefully, because a lot of Nigerians are watching, so it will determine where to go from here. And besides, the judiciary has also been put in the balance now to see what they would do, to see if people really have rights to speak or review products. Thank you so much.
And I'm hoping that when he comes back again, you can talk to us about the potential remedies that are available to Chioma.
Yes, she's already exploring one. She's in court for violation of our human rights. I'm aware of that.
All right, okay.
Yeah, because the court, as we say, is the last hope of the common man. Some say it's the lost hope, but I do not believe yet.
We're holding on.
Thank you so much, Festus Oguns, of course, human rights lawyer who's here with us this morning. But before we proceed, let's also tell you that you can be part of the show and you can make your comments by going to our social media page. We're streaming live on YouTube as well as on Facebook, and we can see your comments there already, so feel free to amplify that. Let's go straight to our next conversation. This time it's got to do with a very, very interesting one.
Absolutely.
It's got to do with the removal of, subsidy.
And many other policies that exactly.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Now, following the removal of the fuel subsidy on the 29th of May during President Tinubu's inaugural speech, there have been growing economic challenges, a development that has caused hardship for many Nigerians. The ugly sight of the masses failing under excruciating economic conditions and the rate at which poverty has eaten deep into the country is not only frightening, but heartbreaking. This devastating national situation has left over 70 million unemployed and has thus forced them to venture into the battle for survival, leading up to looting government reserves recently.
All right. And this morning, we're looking at the economic situation here in Nigeria. And joining us very quickly is a strategist, a policy analyst, and the group CEO of Global Investment and Trade Company. He's here to talk deeply on the current economic situation. We're talking about Baba Yusuf, who joins us this morning. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Let's go straight to the the nitty-gritty of what Nigerians are indeed going through. First off, as an economist, it would be good to hear your thoughts on the looting that took place from the weekend, even until yesterday at Daidai. We also saw another one. What are economists saying about the trend that's starting to evolve?
Thank you very much. Actually, Joe, this is a trend that started not just last week. We'll recall last quarter of last year, there were some of these looting activities that took place around, if I'm not mistaken, Adamawa State. So we've had pockets of these lootings that have been going on. And I think the set piece, emerged, this gory emergence of this trend started during COVID, where politicians, in a very wicked manner, hoarded food essential commodities that were supposed to be shared to people. Now, fast forward to what we have today, which is another emerging trend, that is taking a new dimension. It's a reflection of, first of all, of a decay of our value system. I want to take it from that perspective, first of all. Granted, we have very serious situation of hunger, strife, poverty, but then it's also a reflection of what is going on in the society. I recall build-up or just the aftermath of the Kano State gubernatorial elections, where people went and looted the shops and warehouses of innocent citizens, some perceived to be political opponents, etc. Now, the danger of this trend is that it is on one hand, a reflective of the failure of leadership, clearly so, to the extent that people have become so desperate. According to Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, survival is the first instinct of any human being, or indeed any animal. It is only when you are secure in terms of survival that reasoning and logic will prevail. That being said, it is going beyond government warehouses, the truck carrying essential commodities belonging to BUA, was also looted in Zaria a couple of days ago, before the incident that happened on the outskirts of Abuja. Also, we had information yesterday or day before yesterday on somewhere on the highway of Abuja, I think around day. That what is happening is that people have lost it for the right and for the wrong reason. And that is why it is more worrisome. Because on one hand, you have people that are desperately hungry and have resorted to, desperate means. On the other hand, you have people that are seizing the moment and opportunity to steal and to loot innocent citizens' properties. I said it yesterday somewhere else that we have to also speak to our fellow citizens. When you loot the warehouse or the shop of innocent, well-meaning Nigerians, some of them actually took loans to secure, their businesses, and you come and loot those shops and warehouses. I bet those people are also victims of the same failure of leadership. That is antithetical, that is immoral, and that is very wrong. Right. I use this opportunity to call on citizens to speak to their conscience while this is going on. But then we take it back to the people that swore to a mandate to protect the citizens of this country and provide effective leadership. I don't know if this makes sense to them anymore, because I don't see that reflected in their actions and mannerism to really feel.
Would you say that? Mr. Yusuf, would you say that?
Must be taken seriously by all of us at federal and subnational level.
Mr. Yusuf, would you say that this current administration does, know what it's doing and has the required capacity to take us out of this fix that we're in? Or does it look like it's a bit of trial and error that's happening?
Well, to me, that is like only sounds like a political question. I maintain objectivity in my conversations, and that is how it's going to be. I wouldn't want to start appraising a government and say they don't have the capacity, but I would say, are they performing, up to expectations or below expectations? And the answer is, it leaves most to be desired. And when I'm having these conversations, I reiterate the fact that we should not only speak about the government at the federal level, because by default, most of our conversations is about federal level. There's a lot of rot and failure and underperformance and underserving the citizens as also at the subnational, which is also reflective of not just the APC, also the PDP and whatnot. So we should speak to, to the issues with regards to leadership in this country. The political parties are coming short, without pointing finger at a particular party. But that being said, there is still much to be done at the federal level. Promises were made mid-year last year when Mr. President declared, a state of emergency on food insecurity. Last quarter of last year, promises were made during negotiations with the labor unions. We have clear action points and proposed pathways out of this issue in terms of interventions. I've been following up with those action points. A lot of them have not been ticked off. I heard the Honorable Minister of State for Labor last week, trying to defend the action points and saying that the CNG buses will soon be here. Let me use this opportunity to advise government that the way things are now, which is a reflection partly of a global economic malaise, but of course, we are suffering from what I call also some self-inflicted injuries, legacy issues of the past 8-9 years. Government should move from managing, optics to managing expectations. Coming to defend and tell us only after the fact that CNG buses are on the way I think leave much to be desired. We expect, because of the seriousness of the issues, government to continuously and consistently, inform Nigerians with regards to the state of affairs of the promises they made at this critical moment. I give you an example. Every week, we expect from the presidency a week in, week out update on action plans that have been presented to Nigerians to say, this is the status of this, this is the status of that. Not wait until maybe the labor union wants to down tools, or there are some serious issues that will impact on the image of the government, then you come with what I call a reactive feedback. So the handlers of Mr. President or the governors should be more proactive and show more sensitivities to the situation, by, demonstrating their readiness to deliver the mandate they are given. Otherwise, there is no other way to see this than to say government is failing.
That's a deep one there. Weekly updates, letting Nigerians know where they're going to. But let's look at the Naira. I mean, it would be a disservice if we didn't talk about the Naira. Let's talk about the Naira and the dollar, the exchange rate. We've seen it go back and forth, here and there. Its impact on businesses, its impact on importation, its impact on the average Nigerian, gas cooking, gas cooker, the food prices, and so on and so forth. What do you think? Do you think that the CBN's policies will indeed take shape as we proceed in weeks to come that will help stabilize the Naira? And one more question. Do you think Nigerians also have a hand in the inflation that we're seeing today?
Thank you very much, Joe, for those two prompt questions. First of all, I have written in my columns variously and I've spoken in various fora. Spoke to the governor of CBN, Dr. Cardoso, an excellent, banker of repute. Albeit now it is another test, in this kind of serious economic situation. But I think we are overflowing the issue, with regards to CBN's, ability to maintain or to restore the value of the Naira and contain the escalating power of the US dollar. Let me remind you, I would like to sound like a broken record because it is very important. Economists, strategists, policy, formulators should remember, I'm just reminding them humbly that unless there's an alignment between fiscal policy, monetary policy, with fiscal discipline, all these optics will not become reality. When you try to manage your monetary policy with optics, with raising interest rates and all that, it will only make matters worse. In fairness, in the last couple of days, we've seen some kind of staggering, I call it staggering stability of the Naira. But I'm not very optimistic. We are getting to the summertime. Globally, during summer, the US dollar gains some kind of strength because of the activities around the media. And towards the end of year as well, we expect the dollar to strengthen. So the measures we have now are what I call the short-term cosmetic interventions. The fundamental issue is that there is no alignment between monetary policy, fiscal policy, and fiscal discipline. Fiscal discipline speaks to budget performance. Fiscal discipline speaks to prudence. Fiscal discipline speaks to controls, in government. Fiscal discipline talks about cost of governance, containing it and maintaining it. If you have a basket and you continue pouring water in that basket, Joe and Olive, you cannot retain value of that water. And that is what is part of the critical issues. How can you have an economy, for example? The custom duties have been raised 5 times by this government in the last 2 months. 5 times. Because we all know that custom duty is benchmarked against the dollar. Now, for the past 2 months, based on the ratings coming out of the CBN and Ministry of Finance, custom duty has been reviewed 5 times. Of course, it has not been, they have not come out to tell us they are increasing it, and on. We only heard the increase once. But if you go and look at the back office with regards to the ratings and the benchmarking, If you increase custom duty 5 times, either inadvertently or deliberately, you can expect the impact it has on the ripple effect it has on the economy, on inflation. If you don't deal with the factors that drive inflation, Joe and Olive, you cannot tackle and contain the value of your local currency. What are those factors? Production. Like I said, cost efficiencies in governance. Okay, fight against corruption. If you don't deal with these issues, you can never ever restore the value of your naira.
Right.
Okay. Now, citizens, I said it in my opening remarks. We should also lose the sight of the fact that we are facing what we are facing in government and governance is a reflection of the erosion of the value system of Nigeria. The lady selling gari in the market, the gentleman selling palm oil somewhere. Everybody wants to take advantage of the situation against his or our own brother and sister.
All right.
You know, while we point the finger at the political leaders. Leaders are a reflection of a society, ladies and gentlemen. And while we ask government to take responsibility and do what is right, individually and collectively as citizens, we should also do what is right. We should be our brother's keeper.
Thank you very much for highlighting this. Thank you very much for highlighting the role that we as individuals have to play and the role that the government has to play in ensuring that we have the economy that we deserve as a people. Thank you very much for your time with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Now, if you're just tuning in, you're well in time for our newspaper review. Welcome. I would open the phone lines to afford you the opportunity to call and share with us what your thoughts are on some of these big stories. Joining us this morning to review these papers is Amechi Ikechukwu, who has been away enjoying life and has finally come back. I hope you brought something for us. You know, Nigeria has been very hot lately. We need something.
Both of you have been away. Let's not start this conversation here.
This is a case of a pot calling a kettle black.
And it was the case of first attack.
I'm a Nigerian.
Come on in.
I'm a Nigerian.
Exactly.
That's how we defend ourselves. Attack first. But welcome back. It's good to have you.
My pleasure.
All right, let's look at this Nigeria and see what the big stories this morning are. On the front page of this Nigerian newspaper, the big story is, of course, talking about the Ansari report. Fear grips federal civil servants over job loss. Why are they afraid? I thought they said nobody will lose their job. As Labour proposes part-time for National Assembly members. They won't like this. FCT gets 9 permanent secretaries soon, according to Wike. Dangote names road in refinery after Herbert Wigwe. FISC declares nationwide war against overloading and night trips. While some SIM cards previously linked to NIN were barred. This is by the NCC, and I need to go and check out what that story says because I don't understand the drama with NIN, BVN connection at this point. Warehouse looting, criminal act, not hunger, says Minister of State Mahmood, as FCTA to establish police posts in storerooms. I think we'll start off with that story. The warehouse looting. Minister of State has said here that it's not hunger, it's criminal. Whilst I can understand that it is still a criminal act, is it fair of him to say that it's not hunger? Do you agree with him?
I think the minister has been unrealistic. Yes, it is not justified that because you are hungry, you should go and loot warehouses or other people's goods. But to say that it has nothing to do with hunger, I think the guy is living an illusion. Because the truth is that Nigerians are hungry. The truth is that the economy is very, very harsh. The truth is that many people cannot afford to live decently. So it's a criminal act. You don't have the right to go and loot the decent. But that is what happens in situations like this. Look. A hungry man is an angry man. And when a man is not sure of where the next meal is going to come from, when a man is not sure of how he's going to pay his students' school fees, when a man is not sure of how he's going to pay for his accommodation, he's bound to do things that ordinarily you will consider irrational. Going to break or to loot a warehouse, whether it belongs to government or it belongs to individuals is a very irrational thing to do. But when people are hungry, they are bound to do irrational things. Yes, a criminal act, but I think the minister saying it is not. Oh, they will come out one day to tell you that Nigerians are not hungry. Of course, they have said it, that it is opposition that is...
yeah, that is fueling the protest.
Yeah, that is making all the noise. That Nigerians are very, very happy people. And of course, the story came out the other day that
we are 8.
That Nigerians are the 8 happiest people in Africa. And they were celebrating it all over the place. How can people who claim to be hungry be happy at the same time? It is a make-believe.
Right. Okay, let's still look at the front page of this Nigerian newspaper and take maybe one more story to react to. There's several others. I think we should talk on the, Labour proposing part-time for National Assembly. How do you foresee that the National Assembly will say? First of all, is it a valid suggestion in terms of us implementing cutting the cost of governance? Is that a valid suggestion that Labour has made? And do you think that the National Assembly will be excited by it?
Of course, they won't be excited by it, but whether it is a valid suggestion or not, a lot of people have made that recommendation in the past, that after all, these people work from Tuesday to Thursday. That is 3 times in a week. Plenary, public, the plenary is Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Of course, they will argue or tell you that even when they are on break, that
they are working.
That they are working, they do the committee jobs, and that the bulk of what they do is done behind the scene. All those committee duties. But many Nigerians have also wondered, what they do, is it worth the amount of money they are receiving? And if it becomes a part-time thing, what it will do is that only very serious people, only people who want to work for Nigeria will aspire to be there. The situation now is that over 99% of the people who are in the National Assembly are there because of the money they can make, and not because of anything, not because of their love for Nigeria, not because of it. And that's why people kill and maim and sell their properties and do all sorts to get into the National Assembly. So it is not something that they will, because it will be like committing suicide. They won't do it, but whether it is also a suggestion that could be looked into, since we are talking about cutting the cost of governance. If they are paid per sitting, when you come to Abuja, do the work, you are paid as per the time you sat.
And we're not even quite certain how much a number of these people earn. It's why they will keep advocating open National Assembly, open National Assembly. We're not quite sure exactly how much they earn in terms of salaries and allowances. So yes, I completely agree with that. Let's move away from this Nigerian newspaper to the next paper, that's the Vanguard.
All right, let's take a look at the Vanguard. At the top there, why SIMs previously linked to NIN were barred, according to NCC. They're giving reasons why they were barred. You can check it out and you'll find out the reasons as well. NPR Obaseki faults CBN, warns of tougher times ahead. Obaseki faults CBN, warns of tougher times ahead. We're just joined by an economist, Baba Yusuf, and he also mentioned the same thing, that he's not too certain about what's to come. But then again, Edo Guba, INEC opens candidates nomination portal. I'm APC candidate, that also writes INEC. IPAC task parties on issues-based campaigns. All right. Electricity, discos reject 753 megawatts despite federal government's pressure. So there's pressure for them to do more, and they rejected that. But let's take this story. Corporate Nigeria shuts down Lagos for Wigwe. As Dangote, Edun, Kadoso, Sanwo-Olu, Adeshino, Aigi Mokwede, others pay tribute. And like we heard, Dangote is looking to name the road that's leading to the factory with the name of the late Herbert Wigwe. Your thoughts on what took place yesterday?
Well, it is only natural. These were colleagues. These were friends. And just like every other Nigerian is mourning the passage of Wigwe, the former CEO of Access Bank, it is not just because he died. It is the manner he died, how tragic, with the wife and the son, and of course with a very close friend. So friends and colleagues and associates gathered yesterday to pay tributes to the man they knew, the man they worked with, the man they ate with, the man they fraternized with. And Dangote Aliko also named, to immortalize him, named the road to his refinery after Herbert Wigwe. So these tributes, you continue to say them. I'm not too sure that Herbert Wigwe's name is going to fade away so soon. He left behind legacies that Nigerians are going to remember him for. The Access Bank is still there. The Wigwe University is there, and a whole lot of other things. And there are people that he impacted directly in their lives, one way or the other. You know, life is not about how long you live, but how well you live. There are people who live up to 90 years. You may well be a Methuselah without affecting anybody's life in any way. And there is this saying that those we love or something like that don't die, because their memory
forever in our hearts.
Yes, because you continue to remember them. The people he imparted their lives, we continue to remember positively. Those memories, we continue to sustain them. So I think his colleagues did what they ought to do, and these things will continue until burial in about a week's time or so, and then I won't be surprised if there are foundations that are going to be set up in memory of Herbert Wigwe. So it is a tragedy. Once again, I use this opportunity to also say my condolences once again. I hope that those he left behind, family, close friends, and associates, will have the fortitude to bear this irreparable loss.
Indeed.
Very sad situation there. All right, so that's all we can take on the front page of the Vanguard. Let's go straight to Daily Trust, but before then, we do have a caller. We do have Cherish, who's a regular caller, calling us from Ghana again. Good morning to you, Cherish.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Go ahead, please.
I wouldn't have called, but the first guest you got in, I think Baba Yusuf, what he said, I think there's nothing to add to what the gentleman said. But then again, I want to say something. You see, until Nigerian government starts telling Nigerians the truth and stop gaslighting Nigerians, I think it will be the first step to healing. But if Shettima will go about not to act maturely whilst we are hungry and angry. You know, they say angry man is a hungry man is an angry man. So if they come up to tell us, just like you said, give us updates, and then let's see what's going on. And when we say Tinubu, it's not just because we don't know that other people are failing. Just like the governor in my state, in the state, is a failure. You know, but we are saying Tinubu because it's like we have to drag him so that he can grab the rest of his peak. You know, so that's why it's like we are mentioning Tinubu. It's not that we don't know that other the governors are even doing worse. You know, and this needs to change. Nigerian government has to be telling us the truth. They can't come and be telling us we are not hungry. Nigerians are happy. Nigerians are hungry and are not hungry. They just like the minister said, the looting is not because of the hunger. Please, they should tell us the truth. I think they should start telling us the truth. Once they start telling us the truth, then we will start making a headway.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your call. Thank you. Anyway, I think she's highlighted what we said earlier on. So let's just go straight to the next paper. The Daily Trust is what we're going to take a look at.
Right. On the front page of the Daily Trust, Cardozo warns Nigeria on debt risks. Federal government, states owe 139 trillion naira. Debt rose from 2.1 trillion to 87 trillion naira in 24 years. How? The math is not adding up. IGP, I beg your pardon, bars POS operators from police stations nationwide. Okay, would that really stop what will happen from happening? I want to believe that the spirit of buying the POS operators is to prevent bribe. I imagine that would be the reason, so that, because typically when these people want to collect money from you, they would hardly ask you to transfer to their account so they can trace it. Instead, go and use POS, collect and bring the cash. Are you seeing what I'm saying? Abi?
But that's one. Two, maybe to protect the POS operators from attack. To protect them from attack, you know, so they are subject to attack. We've heard of some POS operators sadly who have lost their lives because they had bulk of money, and then boys came and they attacked them.
Where is the safest place to be if not in the police station?
Are you asking me?
Okay, let's still look on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper and take a few more stories from the front page. U.S. election, Supreme Court clears Trump for primaries. Wow, Trump is not giving up. Healing, masquerades go to church with native doctor for Thanksgiving. This is very interesting. Children starving to death in northern Gaza hospitals, according to World Health Organization, and that's not a good one. Daurawa settles with Kano governor, returns as his bar commander. Private sector week, as economy declines by $44 billion in 2023 by NESG. And final story, 17 killed in Zaria, Kano, Abuja, Lokoja Road crashes. We have Kemi calling in from Surulere. Good morning, Kemi. Thank you for calling. Please go ahead with your comments.
Good morning, Olive and Joe. Thank you for picking my call. You are doing a fantastic job. Hello?
Yes, thank you. Please go ahead.
I would like to comment on the headlines for today. And honestly, I don't know why Nigerians are surprised that these things are happening. It's almost as if we are living in a country that is in anarchy. There is no money anywhere. Fuel price has increased. Everything is on the increase. Children, I have 2 children. To give them money, lunch money for school. Before, I used to give them 500 naira. Now I have to give them 700 naira. They will be looting, and they will be out. The state of our nation is fractured. That's all I can say. When I heard you and Joe speaking about the headlines for today, I felt moved to contribute, because apart from the fact that News Central is doing a wonderful job when it comes to telling us how the state of the economy is, but all Nigerians are looking for is a way forward. Can we have that way forward? When we elected the president of the country, how we elected the president of the country, never for once did we think that the state of the economy will disintegrate to this extent. I mean, when it was Goodluck Jonathan that was president, everybody said, oh, he was not doing a good job. The Buhari administration came in and blamed everything that was happening on the Jonathan government. Now the Buhari government has left. The Tinubu government, are they now blaming everything that is going on the Buhari government? What is this blame game that we always do in the country? So I think it's time that we ask ourselves the hard questions and take decisive measures. How can a country so talented, so blessed, so rich be such an irony of mass proportions? The West will be looking at us and are laughing at us. We are so rich in the country. We have rich minerals. We have everything that a country needs. Even other African countries are jealous of Nigeria as a country. Nigeria as it is should be a continent because of the number of people that we have, because of the number of talents that we have. So what is the problem? Are we under spiritual attack or something? Why can't we seem to harness our strong points and make this country great again? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your contribution.
Thank you for calling.
It's very painful when you hear these things, because it's a reality. It's our reality. I was saying to Joe, I was sharing with you this morning before we came on air how much I had spent on fuel in 1 week. And my heart breaks to think about, I can't say how much it is, but I've spent so much money on fuel. And that's just fuel. There are a number of people that can't even afford to eat. Every time I want to complain, I'm thinking you are crying for fuel. There are people who are crying because they don't even have money to eat. And it doesn't even look like it's going to get better. Experts had said that things will pick up by middle of the year. But every day it looks like things are getting further and further darker. The metrics?
What are those fundamentals that are out there? What are those policy measures that are being put in place that should give anybody the confidence that things are going to get any better anytime soon? There is none. There's none. Like I said earlier, you see, this government, and I think I've said it on this station over and over and over again, this government is not being realistic, relies on propaganda and lies as tools of governance. And that's not the way to go. See, and like Kemi just said, these blame games, they don't make sense. Buhari was there for 8 years and blamed the 16 years of PDP and 5 years of Jonathan and all that. Now, Tinubu has come in and people are blaming the 8 years of Buhari. What has Tinubu done differently from what Buhari did?
But do they have the moral justification to blame Buhari's administration? I ask this because
they don't.
During their campaign, they said they were building on the legacies
Olive, let me tell
President
you,
Buhari.
They don't. Tinubu said he was going to continue from where Buhari stopped. And that is why I asked, what you blame Buhari, what have you done differently from what Buhari did in 8 years? Nothing. Nothing. Except that you removed a fuel subsidy and floated the naira, which fast-tracked all the crises we have today in the country. So it is sheer hypocrisy for any official of this government to continue saying that what got us to this sorry pass was what Buhari did or did not do. Granted, Buhari was a disaster. A disaster. In 8 years, Buhari was a disaster. There is, for me, I don't think there's any single thing I can say that this is what Buhari achieved. Don't forget, this was a man who came in on promising that he was going to do 3 things: fight insecurity, fight corruption, and then restore the economy to good health. Restore. Because as at the time he took over, the economy was not as sick as they made everybody to believe. Now we know what a sick economy looks like. So, Buhari never did any of those things. His administration was a disaster. And above all, he introduced policies that so much polarized our people, that everybody started seeing himself more as coming from this side or coming from the other side. But everybody had hoped that Tinubu was going to make a difference. After they said he built Lagos, he was the architect of modern Lagos. He's a financial guru.
And has an eye for picking the right people for the job.
And has an eye for doing that. We are yet to see that.
Okay, let's try and quickly chip in one more paper before we wrap up this segment. Let's move over to the next one.
Let's take a look at final paper, which is a Punch. Food crisis, OPS warns of shutdown as hoodlums loot more trucks. Building materials, spaghetti trucks attacked in Ogun, Kaduna, 15 arrested in Abuja. Federal government condemns warehouse looting. Kano store evacuates wares. States to get free grains. Let's just focus on another one. This one, AFDB plans $2.7 billion budget agri loans for Nigeria. We also heard yesterday that they had approved $134 million for Nigeria. I think that's an offshoot of that, which would be used to produce maize, millet, beans, you name them. And, you know, one would wonder, with this money now, is it possible that we can now end this food crisis?
But, Joe, is it not a contradiction? The paper that we rolled over before this one,
yes,
the CBN Governor Nakadoso was warning of the dangers of borrowing, that Nigeria runs a risk, and just like other African countries. Now this one is telling us we are still borrowing more. Like I said earlier, Tinubu has not done anything differently from what Buhari did. It is borrow, borrow, and borrow. The ones they have borrowed so far, what impact did it have on the economy? What did we do with it? And all that. So if we go back to your question, whether the borrowing from African Development Bank will ease the hunger in the land, will promote agricultural production, my question is that no. Because, see, this issue of hunger and lack of food, the insecurity is also part of the problem that we have. Until the farmers are able to go back, the whole of the middle belt, not central, which is the food basket of the country, from Benue State to Plateau to Nasarawa and all that. Those places are the real headquarters of banditry. Farmers no longer go to farms. People are living in IDPs, having been dislocated from their ancestral homes. And the worrying part of this is that people are occupying these ancestral homes of those who have been dislodged and who are living in IDP camps.
Sorry to interrupt. Let's quickly take this call. We have Daniel from Abuja who's calling. Good morning to you.
The volume of your TV set so we can hear you properly.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Daniel. Turn on the volume of your TV and you can proceed.
Are you hearing me?
We can hear you, but we're getting a feedback. So do us a favor. Turn on the volume of your TV set.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Go ahead.
I just want to say something about the Buhari administration, when you people are just talking about just now. So I don't know why some people are just saying that Buhari administration is better than Tinubu administration. Buhari administration is the worst administration so far in country. So none of them to compare these two administrations. This might just enter about how many months some people are complaining. Something have scattered. It is from Buhari who learn how to give appointment for one side in this country. And it is supposed to be like that. So when we are discussing something, we should forget about the tribal something, how the sentiment something. Already, Buhari already scattered this country. Nothing Tinubu could do for now. He's just managing to make sure to pick us out of this mess. You people know the truth of this. So anybody that say Buhari administration is better than Tinubu or this thing, in the history of this country, Buhari administration is the very worst administration so far. You people know what I'm talking about. And I commend the man that sitting by your side that explained just now. I just like the man explained. Nobody in this country is happy with Buhari, and God will judge him by the grace of God. Thank you, sir. May God bless you in the studio there.
Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, those submissions are yours. It's your thoughts, and that's what you think. Well, let's wrap these papers up very quickly, as time is no longer a friend. Let's go back to the Punch. Just one last story. I know you were reacting to the counter claims where we're about to get money from AFDB, and then, of course, Cardoso is warning, don't. But let's take this last one. It says, approach Zimbabwe for solution to inflation. Obasanjo tells federal government. Your thoughts on that?
The sarcasm in that.
Well, I don't know how that works. I'm not also sure that even as we thought that Zimbabwe has come out of its financial or economic mess. But let me also quickly, Chief, the last caller, Daniel, was talking about Buhari and Tinubu. I think that is also the kind of sophistry that is being brought to bear on the argument of who is doing better or who did better. Look, Tinubu's administration cannot extricate itself from whatever Buhari did because it is APC government. Don't forget, in the 8 years of Buhari, it was the 16 years of PDP. That was what APC had a sing song, the 16 years of PDP.
A long conversation.
Did this, did that. Now everybody is trying to say, no, Tinubu is a new administration. No, it is.
Continuum.
The political parties run the show. APC has been in office in the last 8 years and 9 months.
All right. I'm afraid we have a commercial break that we need to take, and that will also help us to. This conversation is what we will continue. Most importantly, as we go into the conversations. Then again, stay with us. We'll go for a quick break, and we'll continue with many more on Breakfast Central. And thanks so much for joining us. Now it's time for us to look at what Nigerians are saying, what you are saying on the social media space, netizens as they are called. Let's start off first with the Vice President, President Kashim Shettima. Yes, that's the Vice President's name. Now, speaking at the 29th pre-Ramadan lecture in Lagos, organized by the University of Lagos Muslim Alumni, he appealed to Nigerians to responsibly protest. Yes, the current economic challenges, that's what he said. Now, he was represented by Special Advisor on Political Matters, Dr. Hakeem Baba-Ahmed, acknowledged the difficulties, by the way, tied to the economic policies, and then heightened the anticipated hardships, which you and I are going through. Well, during the lecture, he emphasized that the reforms aim to fix the nation without intending to indeed punish citizens. And that's exactly what he said. But then again, let's take a look and see how Nigerians reacted to that statement where he said, if you must protest, do it responsibly and maturely. Our very first reaction comes from Naxa. He says, so you are literally telling us to protest. There's no change from you leaders, ? There's no need to protest since you're aware of it and why we do it. I don't know if anyone gets my point. That's what he says. So indirectly saying Shettima's speech is encouraging Nigerians to go ahead and protest, but do it responsibly, okay? Another one, this one is from Justin Eremu. Justin says, your policies are responsible. Protest is a product of your bad policies. Do you agree with that? Well, don't forget, it's not my view, it's the view of Nigerians on the social media space. Let's take another one quickly. Hardship and hunger, no send responsibility. Oh. Hardship and hunger, no send. Oh. That's from Abu_Zakwa, and that's exactly what he's saying. Let's take one more very quickly. Did you revolve subsidy in a friendly manner? Okay, he was trying to say, did you involve subsidy in a friendly manner? He now went ahead to say, what a country, okay? That's what we see there. But then again, let me quickly share this, that these tweets, most importantly, are taken from different social media spaces, seeing how Nigerians are reacting to a particular story. But then again, what's your thought on this? Do you think that statement was indeed one that would encourage Nigerians to actually sit back and not protest, or would it encourage them to go ahead and protest? Yes, think about that and let us know what your thoughts are. But then again, let's go to a very big one. This one, I can tell you, will get you thinking very deeply. The Minister of Power, oh yes, the Minister of Power himself, I'm talking about the Minister of Power, has come under netizens' fire for using a power bank while attending an event. An eagle eye spotted the minister's hands and highlighted the image, and that's exactly what we are going to see. Now, why is this news? Well, Nigerians took to social media to express their worries over the fact that if a minister who is supposed to ensure there is power was seen carrying a power bank to charge his phone, then all should know what to expect. All right? We're going to take a look at that picture and see, was he really carrying a power bank? That's the question. So we'll have that picture up on the screen, and then we'll take a look. Okay, I can see the first image there. Doesn't really look like a power bank, but let's zoom in closer. Let's zoom in closer and see what we have on this image very quickly and see if it truly is a power bank. Not too bad. Maybe a little bit closer again. Okay, there it is. It's power bank. Power bank. Okay, the minister, power bank. Okay, let's see how Nigerians are reacting to this power bank situation. It's a power comment. So let's go. I show 027 says, there is no light at the end of its tunnel. I don't understand what you mean by that, but that's what Nigerians are saying. Let's take a look at another one very quickly. It says, when NEPA office, they use Gen. This one's small now. And I'm sure you recall the story of the NEPA office that they had their power cut off because they were using, they didn't pay and all that, stories here and there, and then using generator issues. Now, who be me when no go carry my power bank with pride? Nigerians, let's take one more comment and see. And this one says, like no show for Minister of Power. I don't know what to say to these reactions, but these are the stories. These are how Nigerians are indeed taking it. And finally, Nigeria needs a backup country. This one can shut down anytime. I don't agree with you. Please take note. The views we read here are views expressed by netizens, Nigerians who are on social media, and their reactions to the stories. Another one says, the power. The power is in his hands. And that's exactly what we saw. Maybe we'll have to, have that clip on the screen one more time. And there you see, that's the hand, and that's the Minister of Power right there, holding tightly to what we just saw. Very interesting story. Olive, let me bring you in very quickly. Your reactions to these stories, starting off with that first on the Minister of Power.
Well, I would say that
there's power in his hands.
All power belongs to God, so he hasn't been able to access that power yet. That's why he's just a fraction of it. So people, please be calm with our minister. It's very interesting there to see what's happening. I mean, I just think Nigerians are catching, like we call it on social media, catching cruise. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with him carrying a power bank. He's going to be out all day for crying out loud. That is not to say he should not come under fire for the bad state of our electricity and the fact that, a number of us are using our salaries to buy fuel. That's not to say that he shouldn't come under fire, but I don't see anything wrong in him carrying a power bank. But there was one tweet by Prince Clever who said, who be me not to carry my power bank with pride. Do you know why he put out that tweet? Because there was a time when some young lady went on social media and talked about men she could never be with or men not to date, and she categorized men who carry power banks as one of those kind of men. So if the Minister of Power can go around with a power bank, who be me not to go around with a power bank. But I'd like us to go back to the Kashim Shettima story.
Oh, yes.
And I think that it's very important that our leaders and those at the helm of affairs understand the very immense power that they wield and how every statement carries so much power. Now, if you remember
carries so much power, but not power bank.
Yeah, no, not power bank. Nice one. If you remember the unfortunate incidents of the bombing that killed over 100 Nigerian citizens in Tudumbiri local government area, one of the things he said then was, that there's no need. In fact, I don't want to misquote him, but it was something in the line of no gain in dwelling too much on this incident that had happened. And many Nigerians felt like that was very insensitive. He went further to say, I'm here because the president is deeply concerned. He was deeply touched by what happened. So I think that what can help is that they should really pre-plan their speeches. Have someone write their speeches and stick to it. Because just one line. Right now, it's such a sensitive time.
Just one.
One line can be misinterpreted. It might not have been your intention, but when you say it out, you can't take it back. Words are like bullets. Once they go out, they can't come back. The effect is then felt. So I think that it's important that the Vice President be careful with the choice of words he uses, because right now, Nigerians are really unhappy. So everything and anything would really rub us up the wrong way.
I agree with you. I agree with you. And one of the things that we've seen most recently is that some of these speeches that have these strong statements are usually, well, out of 5, maybe 2 or 3 are communicated through by the advisors. You know, they say, oh, okay, I'm here represented and so on and so forth. And the questions a lot of Nigerians asked, aside from the tweets that we took, was someone had asked, do they go through these speeches before they come out to give it?
I don't think
because one of the things that's why it's advisable you get a professional communicator. You get a professional public relations expert. You know, put it together, mop it all together, a professional, an expert. They have to ensure that you have to read the signs, read the times that we live in. Statements, you just need to be careful.
I mean, they can't, to be honest, they may not have the time to go through all the scripts, but when you've written out the script,
come on, Olive, we have the SSA, SSS.
So it's the people in his media team that should be held responsible when a speech that does not go down well with the people is being released, because you are there in trust. You're there to protect the president or the vice president's utterances, to be sure that they are in line with what the Nigerian people would want to hear, in line with what he would want to say. So, although to be fair, some of them might be the president or the vice president telling them, include that one in the speech, or we're blaming the media team.
But then again, that's why we're talking about it.
Absolutely. I think the summary of it for me is if you're a leader and you're the helm of affairs, be careful. Your words are very powerful. And Nigeria is in such a sensitive place. We're in such sensitive times right now. So you might want to double check, and where possible, please always read your script before coming out.
Very key. All right, so to the Minister, Ms. Adebayo Adelabu, I mean, we hope that you would have a responder to this one, especially looking at the power bank situation. Well, feel free to let us know what your thoughts are or what Nigerians are saying. Drop your comments on our social media page and let's know your reactions to some of these major stories as we wind down on today's breakfast show. Yes, Breakfast Central on a Tuesday morning. It's been a fantastic one, by the way. Don't mind the pink. It wasn't planned.
Joe, why do you feel the overwhelming need to explain away the pink?
Please.
Pink looks good on you. Shout out to men who wear pink.
Thank you so much. And pink looks
have
good
not
on you too
given
as well.
pink a gender. Pink is a color that anybody can wear, and it looks really lovely on you. Thank you very much.
Okay, by the way.
All right, guys, we'll be back again tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining the show. Remember that you can continue the conversation on social media at News Central TV on all platforms. We'll be back again on Wednesday. Hopefully, we're matching colors. This time, purple.